Well, hello friends, this is Tommy Oaks and this is the Story Break. Welcome. Once upon a time, there was a farmer who had a wife and they had a daughter who was of marriageable age. There was a young man in that community started coming by the farm and visiting that girl and courting her, and he thought he might ask that girl to marry him. He dropped a hint or two to her, and she told her mama, and her mama said, well, let's invite him over to dinner one night. Well, the night came, and mama was in the kitchen cooking up the dinner, and she called her daughter and said, sweetheart, would you go down into the basement? They had a big barrel of cider down there, and she said, would you draw me a pitcher of cider for us to drink for supper? Daughter said, sure, mama. She took the pitcher and went downstairs. Well, as she was going down the stairs, she happened to look up. Laying on a rafter at the end of the stairway was a wooden mallet. Now, who knows how long that mallet had been there? There were spider webs on it, so apparently it had been there a long time. But that girl stood there looking at that mallet, and then she sat down and she began to think, and she thought, oh no, what if I were to walk under that beam and that mallet were to fall on my head and were to kill me? And that young man would come tonight and we would never get married and we would never have children and my parents would never have grandchildren. It would be a horrible, horrible thing. And she sat there just a booing and a hooing. Well, her mother heard the noise and opened the basement door and saw her daughter down there sitting on the stair, and she went down and said, honey, what is it? And the daughter said, well, look up there, mama. There's a wooden mallet on the beam. What if that mallet fell off and hit me on the head, and what if it killed me, and what if I never got to get married and never got to have any children and you never were grandparents? And the mama started boo-hooing too. Oh no, oh no. Well, the daddy came in from working and he heard a noise. It was coming from downstairs in the basement. He opened the basement door, and there was Mama and his daughter both sitting on the steps crying and boo-hooing. Well, he said, what is it? They told him, look, there's the mallet. What if that mallet had fallen off and hit our daughter on the head? And what if she had died and not had children? We'd never been grandparents, and it would have been an awful, awful thing. And the three of them sat there on the stairway just crying their eyes out. Well, directly that young man came for dinner. He knocked on the door and there was no answer. He went around the back door and there was no answer. But on his way around the house, he heard a noise in the basement. So he went in the back door and went to the basement door and looked and saw the three of them down there sitting on the stairway. He said, what on earth is it? They said, look, up there on the beam, there's a mallet. And we were wondering, suppose our daughter came down here to get some cider, and suppose that mallet had fallen off, and suppose it had hit her on the head, and suppose she had died, and you all never would have gotten married, and we never would have had any children or grandchildren, and it would have been a horrible, horrible thing. Well, the young man standing at the top of the stairs said, I don't think I have ever seen three sillier people than this. I think I'm going to go on a journey. Now, maybe if I could find three people sillier than this, I might come back here and marry this girl. Well, the name of this story is The Three Sillies. And that young man did go on a journey. And whether or not he found three other sillies, you'll have to wait and find out, because I'll tell you about the first maybe next time. So thanks for coming. This is Tommy Oaks, and you've been to the Story Break.